Hello there guys, Francis Gray here and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video we're going to be making up everybody's favourite nightmare demon, Freddy Krueger.
We got special work to do here, you and me.
I'll see you after this. Okay guys, welcome back to a brand new build. So if you've seen the previous videos, so in the first video we did a horror bust of Art the Clown with like a unique made skull base, and then horror bust number 2 was David the Lost Boy, obviously with a matching base. So today it's going to be horror bust number 3 and we're going to be doing Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yeah. Great to be back in business.
Okay, so after a couple of hours of sculpting with a couple of other people's STL files and splicing them together, like stitching them like a Frankenstein's creation to create something new, I got this bust of Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger. Now you might notice that there's like a gouge on his chest, so don't worry, that is that's something to be described later on, so just ignore that that's there for now. So now that we've got the bust ready to print, let's go ahead and get printing.
"24 hours later."
Now there's a face only a mother could love.
Okay, so here he is back from the print, and for the next stage we're going to go in with some snippers and we're going to go ahead and clean up all these supports. Okay, so at first glance that is printed rather well. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and then I'm going to go in with various files and I'm going to try and make this smoother.
Many hours later.
Okay, so at first glance that's a lot cleaner, but there'll be little tiny supports or imperfections that I can't see with the naked eye. So I'm going to go into the spray booth and I'm going to hit this with a nice grey prime. Okay, so now that we can see what the details like, for the next stage I'm going to go in with some various files and grinders and I'm just going to go ahead and clean Freddy up.
Come to Freddy.
Later that same evening.
Okay, so that is a lot more smoother than it was. So for the next stage I'm going to go in with just some wood filler and I'm going to get a little bit of it on my finger and I'm just going to rub it over some of the surface areas. Now when I say some, because obviously Freddy's quite grisly with his bear marks, and that's lovely detail that we don't want to lose. So we're not going to go ahead and use this on his face, and there's also like pattern on his top that we also don't want to lose. So the main areas I'm going to focus on is his hat, because there are some gnarly layer lines on that needs covering up, and then also maybe a little bit on the sides, and then definitely on the underside of that. Okay, so after smoothing that back down again, for the next stage I'm going to go in with some UV resin, which is this stuff here, and I'm going to go ahead with an old brush I'm not bothered about, and I'm going to go ahead and add a layer, mainly to the hat and maybe to the sides and maybe on the bottom as well. Okay, so after I painted this, I went ahead and made it cook in the sunlight. And once that fully cured, it was then time to take it back into the spray booth and hit it with, yes you guessed it, another grey prime. So while we go ahead and leave Freddy to fully dry for a second time, for the next stage I want to go ahead and want to add his iconic hand and glove. So this is the reason why there was that kind of delve in his chest, because I wanted to make sure that his glove would fit in securely. So I went ahead and I created this. Now this was basically sliced off the hand off another STL file and then blown up so it's the same scale as the bust. And now that we've got our STL file, same again, let's go ahead and get printing. But this time I'm going to print it with resin so we can get those lovely crisp details that an FDM printer probably wouldn't be able to achieve.
Now be a good little doggy and go print.
8 hours later. A few moments later.
It burns, it burns.
Okay, so here is the glove all printed off, and I think it has turned out rather nice. So there is a little bit of a cleanup work we need to do, but let's go ahead and test it in the pre-made hole. So it's an okay fit, but nothing too brilliant. I'm wondering if it's worth me removing this part here, actually. Then again, saying that, I could probably sculpt in the missing details back here on that there. Possibly. Tell you what, I'll snap this part off here and then see how that fits. Okay, that does seem to want to fit better. I'll have to cover that hole in the jumper there, but there's a little bit of modelling clay needing in the back of there as well. But for the most part, that's not actually that too bad. Okay, so for the next part, I might go in with a little bit of milliput. Okay, so I'm actually happy with how that turned out. So in order to make sure this dries nice and even, I suppose, I'm going to go ahead and leave the glove in place and then leave this probably a good 24 hours to fully cure.
24 hours later.
Okay, so it's been a good 24 hours and this milliput should have fully cured by now. So the next tricky part is I need to try and carefully remove this glove so we can paint it up, because it'll be easier to get to all the little nooks and crannies, you know, if it's free, rather than attached to Freddy. So yeah, so wish me luck.
Just like a woman.
Nope, that is not budging. So, well, look on the bright side, at least I don't need to use glue. So, for the next stage I need to carefully go in and try and clean it up as best I can.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe.
Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cleaned up the obvious imperfections. So there will be some others that I need to tidy up, but in order for me to see those better, I'm going to quickly go into the spray booth. I'm going to hit this with a bit of grey prime, and I'll see you in a few seconds.
5 minutes later.
Okay. Okay, so for the first part, I'm going to go in with some dark flesh from Model Colour. So for the next part, I'm going to go in with an express colour which is titled Plasma Red, and we're going to go ahead and place it all over Freddy's skin, and I might go in with a damp cloth and then just wipe away some excess. Okay, so that is a first good once over pass, but with Freddy there's like some deeper recess areas of like really burnt, charred skin that we really need to go back in again with the exact same stuff and emphasize those burns. So just like that. And for the next part, I'm going to go in with a basic skin tone from Model Colour, and then basically this is just going to be a very light dry brush over some of Freddy's raised surfaces. And now I'm going to go in with a pre-mixed medium pink. And for the next part, I'm going to go in with some medium acrylic brown. I'm going to go ahead and start laying a base tone to his hat. And now I'm going to go in with the same brown and I'm going to add a base tone to his glove. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some medium brown. And then I went in and mixed in some like a creamish colour, and that lightened it up a lot more, so we can go ahead and add some edge highlights. Okay guys, just wanted to quickly say I hope you're enjoying this video so far, and if you are, please slap that like button. And I also wanted to say a huge congratulations to YouTube user NaughtyMark7372 for correctly suggesting that this video build was going to be the iconic Freddy Krueger. You were dead on the money, congratulations, and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. So if you have any suggestions on who you think the next video is going to be, let me know in the comments, because I would love to see who gets it correct. Okay, back to the video. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some gory red. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some sick green from Game Colour.
Perfect.
And then I went in with some off-white from Game Colour and I started mapping out the whites of his eyes and his teeth. And then once that dried I went in with a black acrylic wash that I watered down, and then I applied it to the hat, and then that goes a long way to adding a lot of darkened depth. And for the next part I'm going to go in with a scarlet red from Model Colour.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Okay, so for the next part I'm going to go in with a very watered down black, and we're going to go ahead and darken Freddy's jumper. And for the next stage I'm going to go in with a little bit of gloss varnish. I'm going to go paint his lips, and I'm going to introduce a tiny bit of black, and we're going to make his teeth all gnarly. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some German grey, and we're going to paint these sides. Okay, so for the next part I'm going to go in with a yellow ochre from Model Air, and we're going to start painting his glove. Okay, so when it comes to Freddy's metal parts of his gloves, now they looks like they're made from different kinds of metal, so they're different kinds of colours. So the first part, I'm going to paint this here with just some regular gold from Model Air. And for the next part, I'm going to go in with a brassy brass from Game Colour. Okay, so for the next part, these parts on the end are a much darker kind of copper colour, so I'm going to go in with what's left of that copper, mix in a little bit of mahogany from Model Air. And now in with a black mahogany mix, so we can go ahead and add some of those gnarly details. And for the next part I'm going to go in with some steel from Model Air, and we're going to start painting Freddy's blades. Okay, so for the next part we're going to go in with a mixture of livery green from Game Colour and a little bit of olive green from Model Air. And we're going to try and paint this right shade of green for Freddy's eyes. And then in with a little bit of yellow ochre from Model Air. And now in with a tiny bit of black acrylic. with a little bit of gloss varnish, and we're going to go ahead and paint Freddy's eyes. And seeing as the gloss varnish is already out, I decided to go in and give a nice shiny coat to the end of the blades. And then I went in with a little bit more gloss varnish just to paint the backs of the metals, just so they really pop. Pop! Pop, 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 pop. And for the next part I'm going to go in with a chrome marker and I'm going to paint the edges of his blades. Okay, so I went ahead and made another one of those skull pile bases, and yeah, for the next stage we need to go ahead and add some high velocity super glue and stick A to B. And once that's glued, I think we're finished.
You are all my children now. One, two, Freddy's coming for you.
Okay guys, so here he is, all finished, Mr. Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger in bust form, and I have to admit I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So it could have gone horribly wrong with adding the arm, but obviously the character is iconic with the glove, so yeah, I had to add him, or add it, should I say. So I've really enjoyed this process so far. If you have any predictions on who the horror icon for the fourth bust is going to be, let me know in the comments, because I would like to know what people are wanting or what people are expecting. So yeah, mum's the word so far. You have to tune in for the next video. So yeah, if you've liked this video, please slap that like button, share on Facebook and X, because it helps new people find the YouTube channel, which I always appreciate. Thank you for any help. If you have any comments, comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future builds, or part 4, part 5, part 6, etc. of these horror busts. And yeah, if you don't mind subscribing, because the channel's next goal is to get to 3,000 subscribers, and as you can see we're almost there, but I can only get there with your help. And since we're talking about help, if you want to be a legendary viewer, please take 5 minutes, check out my Patreon page, where with your help and support we can do these videos full time, which means a lot more content for you guys. And that's about it really. All that's been said is thank you for watching. I'm Francis Gray, and this is the iconic horror icon bust of Freddy Krueger. I'll see you in the next build.